Okay, welcome back, to Freedom Speak, a podcast. This show is brought to Freedom Speak International, a non-profit organization built from immigrant to immigrant, create this Sandra where the voice are often silenced by displacement, language barrier, and lack of access of uh, you know, being immigrant and being new in the environment.
Right.
I'm a writer, and when I arrived in Canada, like I was struggling a lot. I struggle a lot to find place even to share.
Mm,
The time when I arrived here, I can't even speak English correctly.
right.
I can't even pronounce my name when I arrived in Canada. And I was just, okay, I'm running from my country because about political persecution. Now I am in Canada, but I'm thinking like even here, the door are still closed. What's need to be done? And well, as I say, I'm passionate writer and thinker. I have published 3 books already. My first book is called Our History, What We Need to Know. This book was written in Portuguese. And second book I write because from the conference I participated was talking about a Congo conflict. And
Mm,
yeah, I write the origin of Congo conflict. And then after that, my last book is called The Black Book, The Mystery of African Misfortune. But today we don't going to talk about my book, just a little introduction. Today, our topic is how the parent can empower children through the reading. And then we don't talking just randomly. We are here with expert. We're talking today with Alyssa Morris, the award-winning of children. He's a children author and a dynamic speaker and powerful community activist. And I believe how Lisa believes. I'm trying to read a little bit by line, but she's here to introduce himself properly. She believes then a story out the tools for transformation. Through her books and voice, she helped readers and writers and educators to feel and see, expired, through through the reading and in the writing. And I know she have probably more than 2 books, but the books I recommend, or she multiple people like people knows Aliza from is Platano. Platanos Are Love, and Samantha Monks. How they pronounce the last one? Monks as Splash.
So there's Plátano Star Love. That's my first book. My second book is The Bronx is My Home. And the one that's coming out in a couple months actually is Bold, Brilliant, and Latine. This one, and it's about 52 Latine heroes who are changing the world. And then, were you trying to say Gloriana, this one? Gloriana Prese?
No. That's how I was trying to say the Samantha makes a splash. Splash?
That's not my book.
Some no. Platano Are Love.
Yes, Plátanos Are Love is my first book.
And the second,
My second is The Bronx is My Home.
Bronx is My Home.
The Bronx is My Home, yeah.
Okay. Really good. Really good. That's well, and welcome, Alyssa, and thank you for being here with us. Let me start beginning just to say then story are tools, and I think if we want to change everything, we need to start from the beginning, at the beginning of the world, to preserve what we has or to change the reality we live. I think we need starting teaching by kids, and you are the right person to give us a little bit of insight. But my first question should be, as writer, I have expression. Even when I have my goals, but I have my expression. I want to know what was the goal, or what was your expression to start writing, not just for the children, but writing in general.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So my grandmother, my abuela, was really my inspiration. She was the best storyteller in what I think the whole world. She was able to bring together our community through stories, and I saw how she was able to bring people together. And if you were having a bad day, she would tell you a story and it would lighten your mood. You would feel happy and inspired. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. That's so cool that with her words and her stories, she's able to make the world a better place. And so I wanted to be just like her. I wanted to make the world a better place like my grandmother. But growing up, she was only really able to share her stories in her community. And so I thought, what are ways that I can share my books and share our stories with more people? And then I went to school, and in school I learned about books and authors, and I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I'm going to be an author one day. I don't know how. I don't know when, right? But someday I'm going to be an author, because that's the way that you can share your stories with a lot of people. And so that's the kind of the origin story of why I wanted to become an author.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is a very very powerful reason. And whole world, then adult the people who have the money first, and second of all, most of them they can read and write. Why did you choose to write just for kids or most for kids?
Yeah, so I wanted to write for kids because, like you mentioned, we need to start with the beginning. And oftentimes, adults are great and everything, but adults are set in their ways. They've already developed their opinions, and perception of the world is pretty concrete at that point. Whereas with children, they're still learning, they're still curious, and they want to learn new things, and they're asking questions. And I feel like with children, we have the most potential to make the world a better place by teaching children how to be kind and compassionate and empathetic when they are in roles of leadership. When they are adults, they will make better decisions. They will consider other people in their decision making. They will make the world kinder and more compassionate, which I think we need always, but especially right now in these current times. So when I write books, I write for all children, but I write specifically to Black and Brown children so that they see themselves in the books, and so that they know that they can aspire to become whatever they want to be, while also inspiring them to be better people.
Yeah, but well, that is I think this is the inside of the conversation. But I want to change I want to go back a little bit from the inspiration to ask you if you remember any kind of book that you read a part of your expression when you was following your grandma and all this stuff you tell us, like book you read as in your childhood change your the perspective, and you say, okay, now I think the book is one of the better way to change the future or to change the children mindset. Can you tell us like little book as when you was a kid or?
I mean, as a kid, I did spend a lot of time at the library. My mom, I didn't grow up from money, and my mom was a single mom. I was the oldest of three. She didn't have money to buy me every single book that I wanted, but we had the library, and we would go to the library every day pretty much. And on the weekends, I didn't grow up going to Disney and like, all these like expensive places, which no shade to parents who do. That's amazing. I'm glad for parents who are able to do that for their kids. That's wonderful. But that was not my experience growing up. But I didn't feel like I was missing anything. I didn't know that I was poor, so to speak, because my mom loved me and we did wonderful things together. She spent quality time with me. We would go to the library all the time. And even though there weren't any books that I was like, oh my gosh, like I love this book as a kid, I did remember enjoying like reading in general. Growing up, I read Eric Carle books, and those were fun. Then as I got older, I read like Harry Potter and all of those books, and they were interesting. It was, who doesn't like magic, right? But I didn't actually feel represented in those stories. So that's why a lot of the books that I write, I showcase more diverse characters, because while I enjoyed those books, I often felt like an outsider looking in, but it still didn't dissuade me from reading because I did enjoy spending that time with my mom. I enjoyed that quality time together. I enjoyed developing my imagination. And now that I'm a mom, it brings me joy to be able to share super diverse books with my daughter, right? I'm actually wearing a We Need Diverse Books shirt because we read about people from all types of backgrounds. I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican. And so we read books by Latina authors, by Asian American authors, Pacific Islander, Muslim authors, Arab authors, Black authors. And because I want her to know that the world is beautiful because of its diversity. And I don't want her to grow up thinking that everybody thinks the same way and that everybody looks the same way and that everyone's supposed to act the same way. I want her to know from a young age that all of these differences are actually beautiful and in many ways are like our superpower.
Okay. That's really, I think it's fair enough. It's fair enough to become author, and having children, to share with more with your experience, because so many as author, like writer, like when I'm writing, I know why I'm writing for. Like I read like most of my book that are non-fiction books, and when I'm writing, people saying, "Oh yeah, but what kind of investigation you done to read this book?" I said, "No, this is my story. This is who I am. I'm writing Africa. I'm African person, Black person. I know what I'm writing." Again, like for me, for my story and for my reality as Black people, like I don't need to do a lot of research. Whole information out right there. We just don't have time and courage to talk about. But saying that, I want to ask you. I know then even your book, as you say, like a lot of this proud culture. And can you tell like us a little bit more about Platano I love, and why did you feel that story, or people need to read more and then try to understand the meaningful behind the Platano I love?
Yes, for sure. So this is Plátanos Are Love. Plátanos is the Spanish word for plantain. So for people who don't know plátanos, maybe you know plantain. And it's about the cultural significance of plátanos, but really it's a book about family. The grandmother shares these recipes that were passed down from generation to generation with her granddaughters. And for a lot of people, like I'm Dominican, and I always remind Dominicans, I was like, do you know where platanos actually come from? And they're like, no, we just know we love them because they're delicious. And I like it to remind people, I was like, they actually came from Africa, from our African ancestors. And so for me, this book it's about food, it's about platanos, it's about family, but it's also about the resilience of our ancestors. It's about how our ancestors, despite everything that they had to overcome, enslavement, displacement, exploitation, physical abuse, psychological, mental abuse, literally all the types of abuse, they still were able to pass down these recipes from one generation to another as symbol of love. And so I wanted to share that experience, not just in my household, but it's an experience that I know other families have since written to me, and they're like, oh my gosh, like this reminds me of when I used to cook with my abuela. This reminds me of this dish that we make. And so even though I wrote it from the Dominican and Puerto Rican perspective, plátanos, plantains are eaten all over the world. They're eaten all over Africa. Asia, Latin America, Central America. And so I had a lot of people reaching out to me and saying, we eat it like this and we eat it with this. And it's just a way to show that there's a lot of differences between us, but there's a lot of similarities between us as well. And to bridge that gap, because food is, in my opinion, a good way to bring people together.
Yeah, and yeah, I understand because in Africa, parents they teach us your food need be your medication. That's why we don't go a lot to the hospital.
Yes.
And then I that's you talking. Yeah, as you talking about food and talking about how we eat, I can remember my friend who write the book like how to eat with our hands, and he's a Canadian. Yeah, he
I
write it
love
like some
that. Yeah.
yeah, he like how to read in our hands, and then yeah, he
Yeah.
share, and then he use his children as to mimic. He mimic his children, like the photographer, the book, all pictures inside of the book are his children eating, and then he tried to share this experience of his kid and with the world. You know, I love it. And driving deep the to go inside of our main topic, I want to ask you the first question, like what roles do the parents play in sharing this children relationship with the books? As you are mom and you are actor, I don't know how your children influence you at the work you do. If you can tell us a little bit from your perspective and from people around your community who implement the same strategy you do, what role do you think that the parent can play when they shaping the children relationship between the book?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. So I think the parents are the number one person to develop a love of reading because most kids, by the time they're in school, they're, you know, 5, 4, 5, 6, and a lot of what they're learning in school is fostering and honing what they've already learned at home. A lot of parents depend on school to teach their kids everything, but home is the first school. And so for me as a mom, before my children were even born, before I was even pregnant with them, I started putting together a library for them. So
Okay.
I went out of my way and I started collecting books from all over the world, from different cultures and countries, from different authors, to expose them to an eclectic world because our world is very diverse. And so I started doing that even before I had children. And so by the time my first child was born, my oldest, Bella, who's 5 now, but will be 6 very soon, we already had like over 100 books.
Wow.
Yeah. And she had so many books to choose from. And now, I have 11-month-old twins. And with my twins, now my daughter sometimes reads to them. So she's 5 and she's already learning how to read. She knows how to pronounce all of her letters. She knows how to put them together. We're using the phonics method so that she can sound the words out. And so she reads simple books now to all of us as a family. So this is a family practice, and we do it every day, 15 minutes every day before bed. Parents are busy, like I get it. I work as well. And it's hard doing all of the things. I 100% get that. But when you take an audit of your time and you see how much time you spend on like social media and all these other like platforms, most people spend a lot of time. And if you just carve out 15 minutes a day to read to your kids, they're going to love books. They're going to love reading and they're going to be better prepared when they go to school.
Okay. But in this case, what is your how I can call? What is your vision for the kids and the represented and the parent kids without parent, like who live in this community, and then we know most of these kids who live in this community, what treatment they receive? How did you think then the book can help them Even if we're talking, then the parent can influence the kids through the books, reading and writing. But there's kids who don't have the parent.
Hmm.
Do you think somehow books can help them through or fill this gap, or you have another strategy or explanation?
So I can't speak to children who have had that experience because I personally have not. But one thing that I do try to do for all of my books is I want them to be rooted in love. So whether it's your parents reading to you, whether it's a grandparent, whether it's a guardian, whether it's a foster parent, whether it's an adopted parent, whoever your caregiver is, hopefully, they do have a caregiver. Whoever their caregiver is will hopefully be able to read not just my books to them, but just to read to them, sit them on their lap, spend that quality time reading to them and showing them the power of them using their own imagination.
Yeah, because that is a hard question because I'm coming from the reality where I know a lot of community they have a kids, they have a kids, they protect kids, but the job in this community is just to feed them with food, to give them clothes, and most of the time that children they are and them on like they are literally with this emptiness, just with a food in a plate, which is good, and most of the time, and with place to sleep, and that's it. They go to school, they just like capped and receive what the school giving them. If it's
Right,
bad or good, they're
right,
just living with this kind of experience.
right. Yeah, and I know that that's a lot of people's realities. I actually have lived in other countries. I lived in the Dominican Republic, I lived in Tanzania, I lived in Kenya, I lived in India. And while I was living in these countries, I was working with nonprofits, I was working with the United Nations, and there's definitely a need there. And I know that the reality of how many children, unfortunately, are orphans and suffer from tremendous poverty. And those people, unfortunately, will probably not be able to afford my books, like typically. But that is also why I do a lot of work with nonprofits and I apply for grants myself so that I would be able to distribute copies of my books for free. So I'm only one person and there's only like I can only do but so much, but I make it a point that whenever I can, always applying for grants and partnerships with nonprofits that are doing this work that aligns with my values because my values are to make the world a better place. And so there's some families that can afford to buy my books and they do, and there's families that can't. And so, I collaborate a lot with libraries. I actually just got two grants. One
That's
is to
good.
do work in Philadelphia libraries, which is where I'm based. I'm based in Philadelphia. And then another is to do programming at a community garden in North Philadelphia. And so it's literacy, it's all under the umbrella of literacy and promoting literacy and a love of reading, but done in engaging ways. So the library events, they're going to be like story times and arts and crafts activities, and it's all free for anyone in the area. You don't have to present ID or even anything like that. It's at the library and you come and it's all free. The community event that I'm doing at the gardens, same thing. Those are all going to be free and funded by the grant. So my ultimate goal down the line would be to get more grants to be able to ship my books out all over the world. But you have I'm starting local because that's where I'm able to make that kind of impact at this time. And I do know that I have worked with other organizations in the Dominican Republic as well, and they've distributed my books out for free for families who can't afford it. The illustrator that I worked with, Amaria, she's based in Trinidad and Tobago, and she was working to make sure that our book is available in Trinidad and Tobago. So we're working at it. We're working at it.
That is a she's a author or just
She's the
representing
illustrator.
another.
So she's the one who drew the illustrations in the book.
Oh, gotcha. It's going a little bit. I'll be listening to this live. Uh, the Black Book inside is like, okay, you're going to read a little bit Africa before colonization, and you're going to read a little bit of struggle of the most of countries
Mm-hmm.
in Africa. Like, we have a general struggle. We are multiple countries, but we have a general mindset and we have a general struggle. We always struggle with poverty. We always struggle for misrepresentation. We always struggle with injustice of there's our resource. We always struggle with this corruption and all this kind of stuff. This is my main question to you. Then, what the parent going to teach, or just buying the kids buy the book from you and then give to the kid what their kids going to learn from your book?
Yeah, so every book has a different message that they'll be able to draw from. So my most recent book that's coming out this September, Bold, Brilliant, and Latine. This one's nonfiction. I did do a lot of research for this book because it's about 52 Latine heroes from the past and the present who are changing the world. So when they read this book, they're going to learn about heroes from all over. So they're going to learn about Victoria from Haiti and how she was a part of the independence struggle in Haiti. They're going to learn about philosophers and poets. They're going to learn about writers and award winners. They're going to learn about doctors and so artists like Frida Kahlo, right? So this book is the goal of it is to show children that whatever they are interested in could potentially become a career, and it gets them thinking about what do they enjoy doing, what are they interested in doing, and it shows them role models that they can potentially look up to, because it's hard to aspire to be something you've never seen and you've never heard. So this highlights leaders from, like I said, the past and the present to show children that they can become whatever they want to be. And it gives them role models. I didn't have a book like this growing up. All of the role models and the heroes that I learned about in school in the US in history classes were, George Washington and all that stuff. And I'm glad I learned about him, but I wish I would have also learned about heroes that looked like me. So that's what they'll learn from this book. For Platanos Are Love, they're gonna learn about platanos and how food is a way to bring families together. I also have the recipes in the back so that anyone, after they read, so I do a lot of school visits. I visit a lot of schools, and the students are always like, Miss, I'm hungry. After they have to reread my book. And so I was like, don't worry. And so I have all of the recipes in the back so that kids can do that at home with their family. And ultimately it inspires a conversation around family and how every family has a story that they can share. And so I do a lot of for all of my books. I have a teacher's guide and a parent guide that has activities, it has coloring pages, it has discussion questions, it has writing prompts, so that after parents read the book, they can use the guide to help them talk about these topics with their children. So it's not just reading the book, they read the book, but then they have all of these activities that they can also do, and they're all available on my website. For this book, Gloriana Presente, A First Day of School Story, it's all about being brave and finding your voice. And Gloriana is an immigrant, so she is scared of going to school, not just because of the normal reasons, change is hard, but also because since she's an immigrant, she doesn't speak English. And so it talks about her challenge to find her voice and to make friends and to understand her teacher in school as an immigrant, as an English language learner, which was my experience. Even though I was born here in the US, Spanish is my first language. I didn't learn English until I went to school, and it set me back. I had a really hard time learning how to read. I didn't actually learn how to read until I was in 4th grade because my teachers didn't know how to teach me as an English language learner. And so I kept getting promoted because I was a good student, because I did good in math, I behaved well, but I really had to teach myself how to read outside of school because my school didn't know how to teach me. Uh, so it depends on the book. There's different takeaways for each and every one of them.
Oh, that's good because when I'm going to let's say I'm going to sell a book, if I'm in the street and marketplace or whatever, I need most of the time when I'm like the book is right there. The people they don't want to pick the book and read to the index and then find out okay what's in the book. They want to hear from you, like okay how I always like try to explain, like to sell the book right away, because maybe the title or the cover, call their eyes and then they want to know more before even they put money in it. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I need to explain a
Yes.
lot. And then like you need to explain one by one. And then when I got there, like I'm so tired and I say, okay, yeah, but what is your strategy for the kids or for the parent who has a kids? Because I know they have a parent in this modern world we live in. They have a kid that say, Dad, I don't like to read.
Yeah.
And then that say, like, what's the strategy you can like what's the guide and what is the advice you can give to this parent, like how they can reintroduce reading to the child
Yeah.
hood? Because
That's a good question. The first thing is reading from the very beginning so that they don't even realize that that's not normal, right? Like for me, my daughter, we were reading even before she was born. So the day that since she was in my womb, I used to read to her. And for her, she knows, okay, it's bedtime. Okay, mommy's reading. It's my turn to read, right? So instilling those habits from the very, very beginning. But let's say you didn't do that. No problem. The way that you can encourage your kid to read is by reading. Kids watch everything that we do. They're always looking and they're always copying what the adults do. So you can't tell your kid, "Oh, you have to read. You have to read. You have to read" if you don't read yourself. It's a little hypocritical. So it's important to carve out time where you are modeling the behavior. You are reading books and then your kids see, "Oh, okay, mommy reads books. I want to do that." And so that's one simple way of incorporating reading into your household. You have to practice what you preach. You have to do the thing you want your kids to do and you have to show them not just by your words but by your actions. So that's one way. The other is finding time in your schedule to do it on a consistent basis. For us, it's before bedtime. So that's part of our bedtime routine. She changes into her pajamas, brushes her teeth. We sit down and we read as a family. And then I read one book to her, just me and her, right before she goes to bed. So creating that structure, that consistency is very important. And then the third thing, so the first is modeling the behavior. You have to read in front of your children and they need to see you reading. Number two is finding the time on a consistent basis. And then number three is ask them what they're interested in. If they're old enough where they have their own interests, find them books about what they're interested in. So if your kids are really into superheroes and things like that, go to the library, ask the librarian, "Hey, do you have books about superheroes?" And they will be able to recommend books about superheroes to you. For my daughter, she loves funny books. So right now, this is the phase that she's in. So I try to find books that are funny, written by diverse authors. Like there's one book by a friend of mine called "If Your Babysitter is a Bruja," which is like if your babysitter is a witch. And it's a really funny story about a little girl who is scared about having a new babysitter because she thinks she's a witch. And my daughter was cracking up hysterically. She thought it was so funny, you know? So finding out what your kids are interested in and then finding books about those interests. when my daughter was getting ready to go to school and she was super nervous, we would read this book together. Read other books about first day of school with her because she was anxious about going to school. So it's also, if you see your kids are feeling certain things, maybe they're having issues with some friends or whatever they're going through, you can find a book that can help them, and it'll strengthen your relationship because it'll get you to know your kid better, and it'll get your kid to open up about what they're going through. And then they'll want to talk to you about what they're going through, you know? So it fosters conversation, it fosters communication.
That is fair enough, but I have the question because I have a lot of questions right now. I have a lot of questions coming up. And there's because I know that you can drive deep. You can play with the kids' emotion, like what kind of change, the visualize what they can achieve in the future if they keep reading. Maybe winning in the future, becoming some of a hero because kids they visualize. Okay, if that guys can fly, he's a Superman, he can fly. If I keep reading, who knows, maybe I can fly too. And I think if we play with the emotion of the kids and good way, exactly, we can achieve this goal. That message was in. But now I'm part of the a non-profit organization called Freedom Speak International. This organization was created by me to support the immigrant and refugee in Canada because I know when you come from some places to other places, you have a story to tell. And then most of them here, like, we don't have a platform to share our struggle, or we don't have a platform to share our story. And most of them we ended up working, and then we lose this gift of talking, of painting, of writing. And that's why we born the Freedom Speak. And we're going to start our a full activity in September. But in the meantime, we have a lot of people register to benefit from Freedom Speak, a non-profit organization. But the question is, as mom and a writer, I have a lot of women who they have this talent of writing too. But in the meantime, they say, I'm mom, and then I'm wife as well. Now I'm worker. How did you think then they can manage, or how did you manage, and which advice you give them how they can manage all this environment of being three or four and one?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard. I'm not going to lie to you and say, that it's easy. Mom, I'm wife, I'm worker, and I'm author and speaker. I'm coach now. So I wear a lot of hats. And it's hard to balance everything. It's hard to find the time. But there's certain tools you can use. Like I use my calendar to keep me organized. Other tools that I use include something called Trello, and I use Trello to stay organized. It's like a project management system. It's like a to-do list, but on a whole nother level to help keep me organized. Communicating with my partner, like, okay, you're doing this, I'm doing this. You're doing that, I'm doing this. Okay, I need this time for this time for this. And sometimes, my sleep suffers because I'll stay up late doing work or writing. So it's just trying to find balance, taking breaks when you need to. But I would recommend, if this is something that you really care about, even if you just find 10 minutes a day, every day, or 1 hour a week, you're going to make progress little by little. It's going to feel like it's slow, but little by little, you'll make progress. Like, I like to make the comparison of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is huge. It's vast. It's, people, if you're not going along a path with an actual guide, you will get lost and you will probably not be able to come out. It's vast. That was carved out by rivers, by water, over time, over many, 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 many years. That erosion happened because the water was flowing consistently and steadily. So you don't have, it's not going to happen overnight for you. It's not going to happen in a month or a year. It took me 5 years to get published. It takes time. But as long as you're working at it consistently, little by little, chipping away at it, then in the long run, you'll be able to look back 5 years from now and say, huh, I did it. Right. So it's finding the time consistently.
Well, this is thank you for sharing the tool. But I want to ask you, because I was watching when I was doing some research, I was watching you. You was in some TV giving an interview, and the Ugandan lady who is a member of Freedom Speak International, he is going to benefit from the support from our organization. But in the meantime, she said, "I want to tell my story from pictures, like using pictures, like illustration, to talk to kids, to share the experience I have." And I was watching your interview, and then he said, "Okay, my kids always, when I come from work, they want me, but I found some strategy. I don't know, but I want you explain a little bit more, because I find that in an interview you say your kids, they don't are just there as your kids to read, but they sometimes they participate when you writing or when you working in a project. I want to know, how did you manage, or how did you use your kids to help you? Because I know when you're doing something like when you need a lot of concentration, kids most of the time they are distraction, and then you don't need distraction. But you're telling me then you use your kid as some strategy, and they help you to navigate when you're writing or when you're creating a books. How this work?
Yeah, so it does depend on the age of your child. I will be 100% honest. With my twins that are younger, my twins are 11 months old, it's hard to get anything done while they are awake, period. But with my oldest daughter, my oldest Isabella, she's 5 going on 6. And when I'm getting ready to do some work, I sit her down and I give her paper, I give her pens, I give her all of the materials that she needs. I say, okay, so I want you to come up with a story, and then you're going to tell me your story. Mommy's going to work on her story. And that's what she does. She'll draw a story about fairies and unicorns and rainbows, and she has a very good imagination, and everyone tells me, wow, she has quite an imagination. And she does, because one, we read a lot, and two, I encourage that, right? So I encourage her to tell stories. So while she's working, I'm working. And then after we're done, she tells me her story. She explains how, this guy was a bad guy and why he was a bad guy, and the hero did this and da 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 da, and why the hero's so good. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Wow, oh wow, okay, okay. And then it's my turn. She's like, okay, mom, it's your turn. And I'm like, okay, so this is what I wrote so far. In this one, there's a grandmom and the daughter and this and that. And then I'll read out loud what I've written. And she tells me, she's like, that's good, that's good. Or, oh, mom, that's not good. That's not good. And I'll ask her, I was like, is this line funny? Do you think this is funny? And then I'll read it out, because she likes funny right now. So I'm working on a book that it's supposed to be funny, and I'll read it out loud to her. She's like, "Mommy, that's not really funny." I'm like, "It's not funny." She's like, "No, keep working at it." And so, now that she's a little older, because I always, from since she was little, I'm like, okay, you draw, mommy's doing work. And I would check, while I'm doing work, I would check on her, make sure she's okay, make sure she's not eating the crayons and stuff like that when she's like very, very little. And it became a habit for us. So she knows it's her turn, it's my turn, she shares, I share. And now it's like part of what we do. But it didn't happen overnight. It does take time. It does take time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I know a lot of kids, if you want to work, okay, you need to have some ice cream or something like that to distract
Yeah, yeah,
them,
yeah.
or give some video game or stuff like that. This is really
Yeah.
good if they like.
We did have ice cream. So like after she does her work, she gets a treat. If she does her work well, she gets a treat. And if she's not doing her work well, I remind her, I'm like, okay, so we're only 5 minutes in and you're already having a hard time. So I don't know if we're gonna be able to get a treat this time. She goes, oh, okay, 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 right? She likes stickers. So I always have stickers everywhere in my house. And so when she does something good, I get I give her stickers. So I find ways to like incentivize the behavior to encourage her to keep doing it.
Oh wow, this is really good. That's really good. Going to we running out our time because I know you give us just 1 hour because I think you need to come back after we starting our after the Ugandan ladies and all these people we has, you know, they need to listen to you, they need to sit to you, and then they need to talk to you. You need to tell
Okay.
them the experience because yeah, most of them is okay, you have a passion to share story, and we know then they have a cost, and you're going to put your time out there. And recently, I see a post in Substack because I follow you. I saw a post in Substack when you say the strategy you use to sell 10,000 copy of your book. That mean you can live writing for children.
Not yet, but I'm working on it. I'm traditionally published. So what that means is I work with a publisher. I didn't self publish. And so I get a very small royalty from each book that I sell. So I get about like 50 cents for every book that I sell. So not yet. I'm not able to like live off it. But what I do supplement my income doing speaking engagements. I go to schools and I speak. I do coaching. So I work with aspiring authors and I help them publish their books. I work with authors that are already published and I help them market their books. So all of this coaching and consulting that I do supplements my income so that I'm able to, in addition to the books altogether, you know, be able to pay my
Because
bills.
because a lot of people when they think, okay, if I have some extra time, don't it's time to play with. I need time to invest in something that can give me something in the future. Can
Yes.
be some financial or some
Yes.
release and to pay my bills, or even if it's just water is very important. I know then we don't have a lot of time to go to share about the strategy you
Yes.
using to sell 100,000. No, no, no. You're
10,000.
going to say you're going to sell 100,000. I just prophesied, but
It's gonna happen eventually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna happen. I know you're gonna happen, but yeah, you sell 10 hundred. No, no, ten hundred,
10,000 in the
ten
first
thousand.
6 months. Yes, in the first 6 months. So this book has probably sold 20,000 copies at this point. My other books have sold like around 6,000 so far. Each book is different because it came out at a different time and it's a different topic. But the number one thing is community. Community, community, community. The number one reason I think I was successful is because before I was writing my books and thinking about me, I was reading other people's books and I was supporting them. I was writing reviews for them. I was requesting their books at the library. When I could, I would buy their books, right? So I was supporting these other authors as they were going through the journey. And then when it was my turn, they came back and supported me, right? So that's if I had to distill it down to just one strategy, that's it. Before you publish your book, make sure that you create a community of people that you have built up, that you have helped, because then they're going to turn around and reach back and help you. So
Yeah,
there's a
because
lot
when
more strategies in the whole post, but if in the interest of time, that's the number one. The number one thing is make sure that you're helping other people along the way because then they'll be able to support you.
payback, support and payback. I help your neighbor to wait the help from your neighbor, like a
Yep.
long-term investment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
long-term investment. That's fair enough, because I know a lot of people right now, they can be supporting you from Ukraine, they can be supporting you from Africa, they can be supporting you from everywhere, but with what? With likes and comment. That's when you
Exactly.
put the work out there.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna see like 20 people showing up to support you. But if you build this real community of readers, or if you build as a real community of supporting each other, I
Yes.
think if you support 10,000, let's say you support 200 people, writers out there, I think in the future you're going to have probably 50 people in your lunch books at 10. That's what is really good to start,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, if you have somebody showing up, because I know I receive support from around the world. I receive support
Good.
around the world, but even people close to you, the day of launching book, and this is a lot in the Black community. I'm just saying, particularly for Black community. And the day when you need your hand, when you need their hand, they don't show up. They show up in Facebook, they show up everywhere, but they don't show up in
It happens. I'll be honest. My family, immediate family, like my mom and my sister, my brother, my husband, my closest uncle, they're very, very supportive. But I come from a very, very big family. I have hundreds of thousands of cousins. Seriously. And they've never supported me. And it's okay. It's okay. You find your people, right? You just can't take it personal. You just have to keep pushing through.
yeah, that says how we need building, and how we need move back, we like move forward. A lot of people close to me, like a lot of friends close to me, they don't want to buy the book, but they want to read the book even for free. They want like you sign the book and then
Yeah.
you give them for free.
Yeah, that's what they want. I've had the trust me, I know what you're saying. I know. And I tell them, I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Go to the library.
Yeah, or
If
then read for free.
you want to read it for free, then you can go to your library. But every book that I don't get the books for free. I have to buy the books myself. So every time I give someone a free copy, that costs me $11. So it's free for them, but it's not free for me. If I were to say yes to every single person who asked for a free copy, I'd be broke. I would I would be living in the street
And
because that adds up. $11 each copy. And it's like you don't want to spend the money, that's fine. Not you're not a bad person, but go to the library. That's not my responsibility.
yeah, that is the fight back we I talk, and even my in the podcast, they're saying like a lot of people, we just complaining in social media saying, oh no, Black, we need change, Black, we need that, Black, we need that. But in the right moment, when the Black people need support, when the Black writer needs support, when he needs readers, we don't show up.
Yeah,
We
it
don't show up.
happens.
And for
Yeah,
somehow, if he sell his mindset, or he gets sell for the people, oh no, that's why he betray the community. He do that. He do that. That's just the kind of mindset I think we need work in there. When a lot of people are
we
saying,
do.
okay, who is this person? Who read his book? He don't want to be the first person reading his book or your book. He want to be the last when you get in a Hollywood, or when you get in Disney movie, and then
When
from
you're
there,
famous. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is the kind of when I arrive in Canada, I know my story. I know all this background I arrive with, but I arrive in this environment because I was running because I don't have a freedom back home. But when I arrive here, I found this gap. Like I try so hard to find the help to publish my book. I'm self-publisher. I know
Yeah.
how to publish it, but I really need some resource. I didn't find it. Everybody did what they recommend. Okay, go to talk to this person. Go to talk to this person. Go to talk to this person. Even when I write the book, people coming to me and asking, "How did you do it?"
Yeah.
Man, I'm here in this country 5 years. I have ideas, but how you do it? Which door did
Yeah.
you knock? I said, I didn't knock any door. I just put my money. I just put my time and invest. The only support I need from you is you now to buy the book. And they say, okay, I'll try to buy. That's as the only. But yeah, we need touch in this kind of conversation. We need talk, and then we need call
Yeah.
for action. It's time. We need stop having debate. Now it's time to act if we want to change the next generation. This is
Yes.
we have here, you know, Alyssa Morris, who is writing, and then he don't writing for you because you don't have a time, but he writing for your kids, because if your kids
Hmm.
learn from the basics, we're going to have a better generation. And in the future, as we going to end our life, I want to give some minutes to Alyssa to invite people to follow her and his social media, because I know we have you are in Substack, you are on Instagram, you are in Facebook, and multiple platform. I don't know how to say all of them correctly, but if you can, and then I will
Okay.
share with them. Yeah, I will show your social medias when I try to share the cards and the video
Yes.
and our social media. How people can find you? People, if you want to buy a book for them child, and how they can find the people who are in other countries. I know people in Canada and
Yeah.
people in America, and they don't are close to your library. How they can find the books or your works, how
Yes.
they can
So
book you.
yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. So all of my books are available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Bookshop, and where you can find me is my website. My website is alyssaauthor.com. So Alyssa, Alyssa, author, author.com. I'm also on Instagram. If you look up Alyssa Reynoso-Morris, I'll come up there. So the main ways to find me is Instagram, Substack, my website, and my books are everywhere all over Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and Bookshop.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, and then who don't is following yet, please, if you watch this video later, we're asking for action, and then action start now. We don't start tomorrow. If you want to achieve goals in the future, that is the moment to act. And then the very better moment to act is acting in childhood. If you are a parent, if you have a sibling, if you have a nephew, buy some books. I don't write for kids, but Alyssa here, yeah, write for kids. And then I know Alyssa is coming to talk, maybe in future workshop, talking to a lot of members of Freedom Speak International at this non-profit organization. And with that, I want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing your journey, for sharing your experience. And I know then this live or this recording we done here is 4 hours, but a lot of people are going to expire. A lot of people. We have a lot of members and who are women right now. They are working. They are really working. But
Yes.
in the meantime, they
Yes.
want to change. They want to switch a little bit, but they can. The system is so tiny
Yes.
that they can even find the time to switch. But maybe from this video, maybe from listening from woman, mom, and wife, maybe that can inspire the journey and to move forward and to start the journey of being artist or going to this calling of writing for kids or writing for adults, if it's the case. And again, thank you so
Yes.
much for being with us, and for everybody, thanks for tuning in, and then for everybody who gonna watch us later, thanks a lot. Subscribe and follow Alyssa Mori, author and public speaker, and then she engaged a lot in the community. Chasing, I know she's chasing a lot of goals, but the main goal is to change the mindset of the next generation and Blacks
Yes.
community and other community. And thank you a lot for being here, and we see you soon in the next live we have when you have time. And thank you and goodbye for now for everyone.